With the ethnic crisis and widespread violence in Manipur continuing, speculations that the state's Chief Minister N. Biren Singh was likely to resign on Friday, June 30, dominated the news space. The speculations were fueled by his meeting with the state's governor. A crumbled and torn piece of paper purported to be Singh's resignation letter also began circulating on social media. However, at the time this news report was going on air, there was no indication that the embattled Chief Minister and PJP leader was resigning. Whether or not he wanted to resign or he might likely do soon, such an event will definitely have an impact on the direction of the current crisis, either towards the better or for the worst. To discuss this, we have in our newsroom our Associate Editor L. Muli to delve a bit further into the matter. Hi L, can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you too.
Okay, thank you so much, El, for joining me. Could you tell us what might be the reason Biren Singh could have met the governor?
Oh yeah, I think the entire afternoon has been very busy for all of us here. I'm standing here in my t-shirt after having to go through all the reports of the Chief Minister of Manipur resigning. And I think it was quite easy for the news establishments in India especially, who have been watching the whole Manipur episode unfold during the past about 1 month, that it was likely that the Chief Minister was resigning because the violence is continuing, and in the midst of the bloodshed and the arson that is continuing in Manipur, that the Chief Minister decided to visit the governor of Manipur itself, said that this might be something related to Mr. Biren Singh giving up. Unfortunately, for the news media houses that have been engaged in spin up a lot of interesting stories why he might be resigning, I think this is most probably because the Chief Minister was visiting the governor as routine protocol, because he is the Chief Minister, and no matter what, he will be updating the governor in regard to the events that have been taking place in Manipur regularly. So he might have been doing that. So in the process, somehow speculations came up that he might be resigning. So right now, even as we keep watching the news space, we have no indication that Mr. Biren Singh will be resigning. So I think the matter rests there for now.
Right, what about the piece of paper that we can see it on our screen also, the paper which is purported to be the resignation letter of the CM of Manipur? Is there any confirmation on that so far?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting because a lot of things on social media can actually add fuel to the fire, and when you are talking about the Chief Minister of a state resigning and something that is remotely related, or it might give a hint of his possible actions coming up, such as a piece of paper stating his resignation, I think it is very interesting that people could use anything, in fact. And if you look at a piece of paper, it's just a normal A4 paper that you could just type it out on your desktop and just take a print out of it in literally 10-20 seconds. So we don't know where that came from. It could be from anyone. So in the first instance, I think the speculations were fueled by the Chief Minister of Manipur visiting the governor, and it was buttressed by the piece of paper that emerged on social media later on. But like I said, any likelihood of his any likelihood of the Chief Minister resigning doesn't seem too probable, because I think right now the Manipur administration is being led by a leader, competent or not, who knows the tone and the size and the sounds of the conversation, no matter how violent, that has been happening in Manipur.
Well, as we speak, I'm just getting the news from the newsroom that the CM has confirmed that he will not be resigning.
Right.
So you'll get to know more about it later. Now, so moving on, was the aspect of resignation central to the news reports only because he had to meet with the governor? So I think you have covered that, right?
Yeah, Yeah, like I said, Manipur has been burning since May 3rd, and I do not believe that the establishment has been able to concentrate on meeting and talking about plans and the course of action and strategies that might involve in bringing the situation to normalcy. So in that kind of an environment, to be fair to Mr. Byron Singh, I don't think that even he will be able to get in touch with the governor's establishment to keep her constantly updated about what is going on. So so far we have not been hearing that much of the chief minister meeting the governor, especially since the violence started, and this most probably in about 4 weeks, about 3 weeks, that we are getting reports that Mr. Byron Singh was meeting the governor. So that was the reason why speculations about his resigning became such a viral report. So now that it has been confirmed that Mr. Byron Singh will not be resigning, that I think that itself speaks a lot about why this conversation cannot go on right now at this moment.
Right. But again, the only discussion that we can have now is what could have been the impact on the crisis if he had resigned.
Oh yeah. Now that he won't be resigning and that news report has been confirmed, I think the speculations and the conjectures that are associated with those speculations can just rest. But let's just give another try in this. Sorry. Yeah. So in the event he had resigned, I think there might be even chances that the violence in Manipur, and this is just my opinion, the violence in Manipur might have, might start ebbing. I think that is one thing that we all believe it might happen, because even within the BJP leadership in the Manipur government, 10 MLAs from the BJP party had insisted that Mr. Byron Singh should resign, and this has been one of the most contentious and one of the most potent tools that the anti-Byron Singh establishment had been using to oust him from the government, and in doing so bring normalcy to the state and restore peace to the state. So if he had resigned, I think there was a higher likelihood that the violence in Manipur would stop to some extent. But then again, second, if he had resigned, I think it will be more problematic. To be fair to Mr. Byron Singh, like I said before, he knows the sight and the sounds and the tones of the conversation engagements that have been going on in Manipur since the past 1 month. So he is the one who is able to more look at the situation with more clarity. He's able to take decisions and use the events he has experienced to inform his decisions. So if you were to bring a new chief minister, I think there will be a little bit more complication in how to assess the situation from the point of view from the previous chief minister. So the new chief minister would have to read this topic all over again. He has to start coordinating and networking with the leadership again. So it will all be a cycle of a new establishment in that sense that will take over the situation, which I do not think is conducive to the exercise, to the actions that is being taken by the government to bring normalcy in Manipur. Atu.
And lastly, is there any way he can salvage the administration's credibility without having to resign and make way for a new dispensation?
Yeah, I think the first thing is to engage with the communities themselves directly, because right now from what we are hearing and even from community leaders in Manipur is that there seems to be a lot of bias going on in the Manipur government establishment that is leaning a little more heavily toward the Maite side. So this is one of the conditions why people had actually demanded his resignation. So the first is establishing a line of dialogue with the communities most affected by it, and particularly the Maite and the Kuki communities, instead of using the platform of security and law and order to try to bring normalcy to the state. And I think that would be a very big trust building effort on his part. Atu.
All right. I think that's all for now. Al, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me always.